Hi, and welcome to the CXO 2.0 conference here in Las Vegas. My name is Danny, your host, and we have our next guest, Kevin, founder of Greenism LLC. If you can tell us a little bit more about your organization that you're representing today.
Sure. Yeah. Hi. As she said, my name's Kevin, and Greenisms LLC started just as a website, www.greenisms.com, as kind of really a blog or almost a personal acquisition of some knowledge over time, just about sustainability and how to make it a little more tangible and a little bit more understandable from my point of view as a recent graduate. And looking at the industry and how complicated it was, I wanted to humanize it and understand it a little bit more directly. So I just started writing about it, and it has evolved into what it is today.
And what exactly does your organization do?
So it's a little hard to explain, but generally there's a lot of different policy changes out there, and there's environmental, social, and governance goals that companies try to make metrics about.
Okay.
Key performance indicators about cutting carbon or about reducing miles traveled or noise pollution. And coming from the environmental planning sphere, I realized that a lot of those translate to sort of an intangible value, sort of an immeasurable value. What is it like to live in a quiet place versus a noisy place? And how do you humanize that? How do you make it something a company can understand and then plan for ahead of time? Because we're realizing more and more that ESG goals and the future of planning isn't just about forcing cuts. It's about making the human experience more sustainable. So I want to focus on that and just provide learning resources to people and consult with individuals and how to help their goals progress with relation to sustainability and environmental science.
So, and you're based out of Southern California.
Yeah, that's correct.
Do you work mainly domestically, or do you also work with international clients?
I do work with international clients to a degree.
Okay.
It depends on sort of who reaches out. It's hard to find opportunities these days that would be mutually aligned, but generally alignment is the important part, that you help a company align with their own goals and their values. And so I've worked with people and writers, and I've developed a team of people that have helped contribute to my blog and to some of my educational resources over time from all over the world.
Oh, wonderful. So then, do you help? You're trying to like solve like the main problem of sustainability practices within an organization. Is that like your goal?
Yeah, you could say that.
Okay.
Again, coming from the environmental planning side of things, it was a lot of meeting codes and meeting regulations, zoning codes,
Okay.
or permitting blocks, and how you could help a company almost meet but even achieve more than what their cuts are required in a way that's mutually beneficial for the company or for the county or for the city, or in some cases just as an individual trying to start a business.
Okay. Okay. Very nice. And then, what networking and learning has it been so far for the conference? What has been your experience?
This conference has been awesome. There's been a lot of different people, and you can tell that there's a lot of diversity represented, both with points of view and with experience levels, and also just industry and
industries.
just perspective. And I really love
Yeah.
that. That was one of the founding things for my website, was sort of shared perspective. And I think being able to open your own mind to the perspective of another person just offers this opportunity for growth, both for yourself and potentially for the other person as well, because you can share and it creates this bridge of connection. And I like this format where it's connected. There's like health and founders and CXO and
Yes.
tech, and it's like, okay, how do those relate? Well, that's what this is about. And it's really cool that it's connected.
Wonderful. And um, if somebody wanted to follow through your footsteps in the sustainability field, what do you recommend? Because it's such a niche industry, and it's something that's very needed with our current climate of the
Sure.
world. So, what do you recommend? Um,
It's niche is important to consider as a word for a career finding, because a lot of the times that's how you end up with a good job, is you find your niche and you end up in a position that's like specialty but sort of not at the same time. And that's one of the things I really like about sustainability, is the draw of vast collection of perspectives, this systems thinking that's, you draw this line around all these things you got to consider to come up with one real conclusion that helps advise a business on how to move forward. And I really like that, just the opportunity to grow in this environment from the system that you've developed with all these different people has created this opportunity to communicate in a way that's really enriching.
So I have here a question that I was really curious about. It said, how does ESG, what does ESG stand for in your industry?
ESG stands for Environmental Social Governance.
Governance, okay.
Which is another way of saying sustainability. It's like what sustainability is like the
okay.
environmental, financial, and social goals. And this is another way of putting that. You have multiple organizations out there that measure different things to try to help companies pinpoint their sustainability metrics. And there's different dashboards you can use and different softwares and different policies, whether it's federal or state or international policy that dictates how a company operates. And a company's alignment with those specific policy goals can sometimes be a really complicated process. Wow. And so ESG is an industry about consulting and helping businesses find alignment with sustainability goals overall.
And resolve it.
And yeah, exactly. So to answer the question, how does somebody follow in the footsteps? It's recognize your perspective and how it applies where you are as a cog in the wheel of a bigger system. It's the world operating as a whole, that everybody's playing a role, and that role sometimes collides or overlaps with other people's roles. And though we may not meet again, we overlap here because our jobs are important in certain ways. And because of that, we can share our perspective and grow individually.
Yes.
And I think ESG is about that. I think that sense of sustainability and social and environmental focus can come together to create a truly human-focused and human-centered system that can capitalize on AI and technology and the growth of all those things, but doesn't have to rely on it. It doesn't have to become dependent on these things.
Wonderful. Very interesting what you do. I feel like that's such a niche industry, and I feel like there needs to be more people who are connected and involved with it.
Connecting the dots is something that takes practice and time, but with perspective and shared perspective, it makes it easier.
That's true. Yes, wonderful. And how did you feel about what's it called? Well, sorry.
No problem.
How did you feel about being an honoree for the 2.0? Oh my God, help me. Help me.
Yeah. No, I saw that question. That they reached out to me and said that I was nominated for this Trendsetters to Watch award for this conference. It's something I had kind of never heard of.
Yeah.
And honestly, it was just this honor because I've been putting documents or resources and learning and blog posts and articles out for a long time, but you kind of just throw them into the wind and let them go.
Are you on Medium or?
I use my own website, and then I post a little on Instagram, and then I've kind of started a couple others that I'm a little less than diligent about. And that's perhaps maybe why I was perhaps a little surprised that they found me and they were able to reach out and see what I do and put the legwork into researching the content that I've put out and then further nominate me for this position. It's just a big honor. I appreciate that over time the work has saturated a little bit and found some eyes that appreciate it, and that's really the whole point. I don't know where the strings are being pulled, but if that perspective is helpful to somebody along the way, that's really what it's for.
Wonderful. I'm glad they found you. You're here now.
Yeah, this is a great place to be.
Yeah. And then collaboration advice, how do people reach out to you? How do they find you? Is it through your website is the best way?
Primarily, greenisms.com, greenisms.com. And you can otherwise email me, Kevin@greenisms.com. And I'd be happy to. I do have LinkedIn. Yeah, you can find me on LinkedIn as well.
Okay.
I'd be happy to chat with anybody about their projects or about their visions.
Oh, wonderful.
So fun to do that.
Yes. Well, we got Kevin here. Thank you so much for taking the time out, and have a great rest of your conference.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure.